Welcome to Velocette and welcome to today's ride on the KTT on some glorious winding A roads. Now if you've been watching some of my channel, some of my videos, you'll recognise this long wall just here. We discussed this. I said I knew it as the Drax Estate, and someone else came forward and said it's actually known as the, I think he said Crawford Estate, but you know, obviously you can check all that out. But it's quite well like landmarkish, this long straight wall. Funny thing is, it's always smashed in. You normally always find sections of it that have been crashed into, which makes me very mindful it's the dangerous stretch of road, even though it's straight. So anyway, and we are off to Hardy's Monument. Now, as it's close to Dorchester, I previously assumed this monument was for Thomas Hardy, the author. But my mates that showed me, well, they told me where to go, and we went there for a nice ride one time. They said, oh no, it's for another Hardy. So, yeah, so it's for another Thomas Hardy, even more confusing, who was a naval officer. Well, I guess he's famous because he's at the Battle of Trafalgar, but most famous, I think, really in principle, for when Lord Nelson is dying, Lord Nelson says to him, "Kiss me, Harding." Now obviously in those days I'm guessing homosexuality was not as accepted as it is today, but I don't know if they were or weren't. I don't know the history, I just know that's the last words of Nelson to Harding. So there you go, so that's where we're going. We're going on the KTT, like I've said before, and I've never been to this destination on the KTT. I've been on other bikes, so we'll see how the bike fares. I'm just setting the KTT, setting her up at 70 mile an hour on this fuel gauge there. I want to give it a good bit of a 70, see how she takes for that. Right, if you're following me on my previous ride, not the previous, right, yeah, actually, go that one. The previous ride, I explained how unhappy I was that my bike wouldn't start. So yeah, so KTT took me all the way to Lyme Regis and back rather nicely. I didn't really give me any issue. And if you were watching that video, you'd have recognised the roads thus far, well, apart from this bit, but because I used the same outward journey for that as I have for this. So yeah, and yeah, it took me all the way to Lyme Regis and back. It was over 100 miles, bike ran fine all the way there, all the way back, and you know, there was just this tiny smell of burning on a hill somewhere, but you know, but nothing really, nothing major. And then I went to try and use it for a bike night, and I'd already pre-arranged to meet my mate down there, and the bloody thing wouldn't start. So yeah, so of course I gave up on the night. I had a number of minor attempts at fixing it, and then I decided no, time to give up. In the end, it turned out it was the nut on the magneto sprocket had come loose, so I had no spark. And obviously, you know, I was wondering how did that happen when it made it all the way home, didn't stop at all. I can only assume that the heat built up. There was some heat build up maybe, and that let it grip on its taper. And then obviously as it cooled down, then that's when it became loose enough to just spin and not rotate. So I tried to set up the points, the ignition timing via a method that's not conventional. I just didn't want to take off my chain case on the primary chain. It's a right pig to get off on my bike. So I was like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, and that wasn't really happening. So I then decided, no mate, like, you just got to do it the right way, the way everyone else does it. So I've done that, and I'm on it today. However, normally this bike is a first bump start, and it must have taken a good 3 or 4 attempts today. So, and I just don't know. I mean, the thing that made it start, it only fired once on the first 3 or 4 attempts. Then I went for less retarded ignition, so I set my retard exactly where I normally set it. I set my choke where I normally set it, but it wouldn't have it. So I gave it no choke. I mean, it is a hot day, and I gave it less retardation, and it fired and ran. But yeah, I just don't know, you know, potentially oh Jesus. Oh, and I've just conked out. Well, that ain't bloody good, is it? Right, okay. Right, we're back on, I'm started it now. So anyway, yeah, not quite sure. I'm inclined to say that perhaps I haven't set the ignition timing accurately enough. I used the degree wheel, I set it up, and I followed whatever instructions most people give you. But there's one instruction that the guy that actually rebuilt this bike gave me, and that was to tension the magneto chain on the aft side with, he said, like I think he said a spring, a leaf tool or something. Anyway, I didn't have the tool. I wasn't too sure what I could use instead. I thought, oh, maybe like a G-clamp or something that's going to apply a bit of pressure, like one of those things for clipping on old-fashioned market steel, you know, cover things, so like just a spring clamp thing. Anyway, I didn't do it, so it could be that my ignition timing is out by the amount that the chain is slack, shall we say. Right, there is the monument. You've seen it hopefully, the big old tower thing, right? So I will come in here, and then I'll probably cut the engine, and then I'll just I'll show you around it in a minute once I've got this thing all settled in. Alright, so there you can see it in the background, Hardy's monument, and hopefully the wind noise won't be too bad. But what I want you to share with me is the view I've got, and this is an amazing view. And that over there, I believe, is Portland, the bit that you can see going out to sea. Well, that was very pleasant. The motorcycle you saw up there, well, I presume you saw the BMW. The riders were a French couple, and I was just chatting away to them for quite some time. That was nice. Their English was obviously way better than my French. So anyway, back to the topic of ignition timing. So I'm not quite sure, like I say, that I've set it up exactly correct. Even when I went to just start this just now, I was on a hill, quite a steep hill, so I had, you know, considerable advantage to have a successful bump start. But the rear wheel just locked up. It's not done that before to me, so I think I noticed that the retardation was not retarded enough or to where I'd normally have it, so I retarded it a bit more, and then it went on about the third attempt. So yeah, so I don't know. Like I say, previously, this is the sort of frustrating thing or pleasurable thing of owning a historic classic vehicle. Previously it was always first attempt, start up, no problems, and never like lock the back wheel up or have, you know, it was just easy. I had a routine, I knew how it would start, and it was comfortable, easy to start the bike, which was great, because obviously, you know, it's quite impressive when you see some other guys trying to kick their bikes over and they're taking like, I don't know, 20 kicks or something. So that's, yeah, I mean, like I say, I basically, for my bike, it's 35 degrees before top dead centre, so found top dead centre, did the degree wheel. I used a piece of baking foil in between the points, which I think most people used to use bag paper, but the tin foil was, I thought, quite a good idea. It was really, really thin. I couldn't even measure it on my vernier calipers, digital things, couldn't even read it at like half a bar or anything. And they would fall out because of the weight of the, I only tore off a small piece, but because of the weight of the piece of aluminium foil, they would fall out. I wouldn't have to pull them, like a lot of people are pulling on the fag paper until it's going to release, but I just waited for it to fall out under its own weight, and that was where I set everything up. So don't know, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out, how the bike copes with it going forward. I did think that I've got a lot more vibration in the bars on the ride coming out today, and I was just, you know, assuming that was to do with the advance and retard of the ignition, not the advance and retard, but the position that I've set my ignition to, where I'm thinking it could be incorrect. But, you know, you always overthink things. When something's happened, I'm going to pull away even though there's a car there. Winterbourne St Martin, alright? I'm mentioning that because I know it's really difficult to know where I am on my rides. You can't really pick it out. I mean, the video's clear, but you can't always pick it out. So, Winterbourne St Martin. But like I say, I'm going on a different route home today. So you will see different roads here compared to my other rides I've done thus far. Just going to keep it down a little bit, 25 do through here, I think. Now, the one other subject, well, there was a few that I missed out, because like I say, the Lyme Regis ride, my microphone in the helmet wasn't working. And there was a few subjects that I missed out that I was trying to cover. Now, the one I'm going to cover today is, what do you guys keep in your toolboxes when you're out on a ride? So that's today's engagement. Hopefully you can actually find loads of things to engage with me on this from this video. But if we want a topic to discuss, I'm thinking we could use the what tools do we carry in our toolboxes as an idea. Let me just try and work out where I'm going here. Weymouth, Dorchester. Ooh, I'm going to go this way, even though I'm not quite sure which way I want to go. But anyway, so yeah, in my toolbox on this KTT, obviously it will differ for different bikes, I guess. I've got a really minimal kit, which is unwise potentially, where it's such an old vehicle. What I have is I have an adjustable spanner that it can open up really wide, but actually the length of the handle is quite short. This is a Barco modern one. Obviously my older spanners, they tend to have really long handles. This is a modern Barco, it's got like a short handle, so that fits in the original toolbox of this bike. I've got a screwdriver, I think, not quite sure. I mean, I've got a flat-headed screwdriver in there, I think. I've got a pair of pliers. I've got a spare spark plug within a waterproof spark plug holding case. What else have I got? I've got a rag, I think that's quite important. You get covered in oil on my bike. I have got a pair of gloves in there today, like neoprene one. I don't really call them really, but latex sort of jobbies, you know. So I've got a pair of them in there today. They're not normally in there, but I just think after the sort of time I spent redoing my ignition timing, I was absolutely covered in oil, because I ended up adjusting the primary chain tension. That was a bit out, it was a bit slack, so I adjusted that, and just the whole shebang, I was covered in, in grease and oil. So yeah, so I've got a pair of those gloves, disposable gloves, might be worth mentioning. Now what else have I got in there? Did I say a pair of pliers? I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but I've got a pair of pliers. I think they're a really handy tool. Well, this is quite good, but it's bad from your point of view, so I'm going to be back on the same roads that I've come in on. But it is what it is. I'm not going to... I could deviate, I could go through Dorchester, but it's more aggravation for this old girl. So, see, she's pulling nicely. Right, so yeah, so a pair of pliers, like I say, pliers I think are a pretty good, useful tool. And one of the reasons I've got them, just one of the reasons, for the spark plug I don't have a conventional cap. I have one of those little brass screw-on jobbies. So you remove the brass nipple from your spark plug and you screw on this little brass, well, I don't really call it, HT lead holder device, thingy bob. And to get that off, I really wrench it up tight. I'm always paranoid that via vibration it will come loose. And it probably never would. But to get that off, should I need to change the spark plug, I know I'm going to need my pliers. So I've got some pliers. And that's probably about it. I mean, like I say, I used to carry all sorts of bits of like electrical cable just for in case some wires messed up. But like I say, this bike's got no lighting on it, no cables other than the HT lead, I guess. And I used to probably carry sort of cable ties and all that kind of jazz, which cable ties are obviously very handy things, such a basic and cheap sort of disposable item, but they could save your bacon. So yeah, so please, if you are watching any of my videos and you'd like to make comments, let's have a little look at what you guys have got in your toolboxes, because I think that's a really interesting thing to discuss. Yeah, cool.